Let's bring it back to the deadline because this was nonstop. If you stepped away from a computer or your phone for like an hour, you came back and there were like a page full of alerts. Big takeaway for you?
I like Carolina. Carolina almost did the Columbus Blue Jackets for me last year, kind of going all in, bringing a couple big defensemen. Vinny Trocheck from Florida Panthers. A couple guys went the other way, but, I like kind of what they did just to solidify that blue line.
Function of injuries, though. Dougie Hamilton, they never quite replaced, and Brett Pesce went down just this past weekend. Like, we need some defensemen here. Their strength of their defense, their system is played by having active, mobile defensemen. And you would think it'd be hard to get one, let alone two, but they went out and got Brady Shea as well as Sammy Vatanen. One rental, one not.
Are they a playoff team now?
Well, what they didn't do, though, what else happened on the weekend?
Goalies.
They lost all their goalies.
Yeah.
And they didn't choose to go get Robin Lehner or Corey Crawford or chase down Georgiev, who actually, after what happened to the Rangers with Shesterkin, probably wasn't available. But they didn't address that, the most important position, so they're rolling the dice with their guys from the minors.
But do they even need one with David Ayres? He comes in and they play the best third period
well, if they play like that. Like they played against Toronto in the third period. They don't need much from their goaltending, but it's still, you're rolling the dice a little bit on Nedeljkovic and Anton Forsberg.
And it's not like the price for Leonard was all that high.
No.
So you'd figure
if he would have been available,
looking.
There might have been some financial implications to you trying to get Robin Lehner to get under the cap. But, it's hard not to like what they did. Both defensemen seem to fit there. Trocheck's an upgrade on Erik Haula. He has term left on his contract. But, leaving the goaltending question unanswered. Although that's Carolina. How many years have they kind of had a goaltending question on good teams?
Well, and then last year they had to use both of them in the playoffs, and both guys at times performed brilliantly. But aside from Carolina, you look at the Metropolitan, everybody was active seemingly. Everyone who was in the mix was active in some way. I'm curious what you guys think about what the Washington Capitals did in adding Ilya Kovalchuk.
Well, I think the guy's kind of second lease on life. When he went to Montreal, things were down in the tubes, obviously, in L.A., but he comes to Montreal and looks like he's a kid again, having fun, scoring goals, being a big part of that offense, obviously playing on the top line, top minutes, power play.
But that's the issue, Scott.
Is he going to get that in Washington? And how does his attitude, if he doesn't, how does that affect the group? So, I think he knows why he's there, and it's to win a cup. So if he buys into what's going on, I think it's going to be a great move. But if it's sour grapes, then I want some more ice time, things like that might take the team down a little bit.
But that's just it. Like, what role is he going to fill? Washington's a really good team. So on the power play, he's not going to play in his spot because that's where Ovi plays. And Ovi does it better than anyone. He's not going to be on the first power play. He practiced on the second power play the first day. Even the right wingers, you have Tom Wilson, who's so good on that first line and very important. You have TJ Oshie, who's a clutch player and very important as well. So he's going to play on the third line with Lars Eller and Carl Hagelin, Richard Panik, playing 12 minutes versus the 20 in Montreal. He's a guy who's a volume player. He always has been. He's always played a ton. It's not that he didn't look good in Montreal, especially early, although he struggled a little bit more lately. It's just the fit in Montreal was so perfect because they needed what he's good at. Does Washington really need what he's good at? I don't know if it's as much kind of this romantic Ovi and him back together, and it's really important to Alex Ovechkin to have his buddy for one run at it, which would be amazing. Be fun to watch. The fit, I don't know if it makes as much sense to me.
I just wonder, the risk isn't great, right?
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't perform and let's say you just decide to scratch him at some point, you still have a team that's built to win. So is it one of these things where, hey, let's go out there, let's see if he can bring something, let's see if he can buy in, and if he doesn't, we don't actually need him.
But Washington first, right? They have a good thing going.
Yeah.
So, there is about upsetting the apple cart a little bit because somebody's going to get bumped down a line, out of the lineup initially. So there will be a trickle-down effect when he comes in there, even if he doesn't work out. Yes, you're right. Doesn't cost him anything. No money. If he doesn't work out, you can play him. But chemistry is something to consider.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's hungry for a Stanley Cup, right? And for his attitude to dip, kind of, how it was in LA, I guess it would be, obviously unfortunate for him, unfortunate for the guys. And I'm sure Ovi and those guys will, crack the whip on him and have him in line to make sure that kind of all that kind of stuff stays in line. So.